name is Audrey, and this is Clara. Some of you might know her full name, Clara Lemlich. A long, long time before we were here, she was standing up for justice. She was putting her deed in the world to make a better world, a more fair world, and thank you, Clara Lemlich. On behalf of the New York Society for Ethical Culture, I want to welcome you here tonight. So glad that you're here. And I want to welcome you to make this the home for your heart. This space was built for our ethical development. 150 years ago, this movement of ethical culture began to say that in a world beyond belief, we can all get our hearts ignited for social justice, just as Clara Lemlich did, and we can work together toward the greater good. So here we are together for the Clara Lemlich Awards. Thank you so much for being here. And just to kind of toss a little stone forward in your path, please feel welcome to come to go to our website and find out all the things that happen here at New York Ethical, including the fact that we are celebrating our 150th birthday. We have a wonderful gala, not this Friday, but the following Friday night. So if you go to our website, please feel free to become a participant and a guest in our gala and celebrate this birthday party with us, because it's a very exciting moment for New York City and for the movement all around the nation, the ethical culture movement. The movement of putting our deed first, our deed, our heart's action. So thank you to Clara Lemlich and to all of you for creating this evening together. Let's go.
Ethical culture and the Lemlich Awards are both great examples of a culture of solidarity. A culture where people go beyond the American commitment to individualism and work for the greater good. I think that includes everybody in this room. In 2011, there were almost 200 events commemorating the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory tragedy. At that time, Esther and I and remember the Triangle Fire Coalition said we need to do something for the women who are still fighting, like Clara Lemlich did her whole life. And so the Lemlich Awards started in 2011. Clara Lemlich was a young immigrant in 1909 when she stood up in a room full of workers and said, I have something to say, and ultimately led the workers on to a strike that the male leaders of the union were hesitant about, to put it mildly. If she went on for 90 plus years to organize, she was still organizing when she was in a retirement home. She was organizing with orderlies.
Thank you.
And tonight we honor people who have been making an amazing impact on our world with their commitment to the greater good. So we do it in the name of Clara Lemlich, and Clara Lemlich's daughters, amazingly enough, was one of our first honorees, and she was here every year until she died. And her granddaughter, Eva Margulies was Clara Lemlich's daughter. Jane Margulies is the granddaughter. She's here with us tonight, and a lot of the Lemlich family is looking in from online. So we are here with Clara Lemlich's spirit, and actually with some people who, grew up with her. So the power of art and the power of history were the founding inspirations for LaborArts, and that's what we're celebrating tonight, starting with a poem.
Good evening. My name is Clara, and I'm very, very honored to be in this company. Instructions on Not Giving Up by Eva Richter. More than the fuchsia funnels breaking out of the crabapple tree, more than the neighbor's almost obscene display of cherry limbs shoving their cotton candy-colored blossoms to the slate sky of spring rain. It's the green of the trees that really gets to me. When all the shop of white and taffy, the world's baubles and trinkets, leave the pavement strewn with the confetti of aftermath, the leaves come, patient, plodding, a green skin growing over whatever winter did to us, a return to the strange idea of continuous living despite the mess of us, the hurt, the envy. Fine then, I'll take it, the tree seems to say, a new slick leaf unfurling like a fist to an open palm. I'll take it home. Eva Richter was the 24th Poet Laureate of the United States, a role that recognizes literary excellence and a commitment to community. Our own Esther Poet was asked to fulfill that role in the upstate community where she has lived, taught poetry, and read her poetry in all kinds of unique venues. Unfortunately, the invitation was rescinded on account of political divisiveness. However, tonight, I'd like to recognize Esther Cohen, novelist, poet, and educator, as a poet laureate for all people.
So I have good news for everybody here tonight. We've eliminated all the speeches, except the introducers and the fantastic honorees. But we have Rachel and I are speaking, we have no politicians, only fantastic music and honorees. So if any of you afterwards say, I really miss those speeches, you can tell me. The musicians tonight are world-class musicians. We're thrilled to be able to bring to the stage Dawn and Leandra. Dawn played Ike in Broadway and is my daughter-in-law's favorite singer. Dawn is going to sing for us now. And later we have Sing Harlem, which is one of the most fantastic choruses that you've ever heard. And if you want more speeches, you can tell me later. I'm thrilled to also welcome all of these fantastic women on the stage. And all our terrific introducers too, and everybody's going to introduce themselves. Thank you guys for coming to our favorite night of the year.
My name is Roseanne Lemoyne. I was here at LaborArts High School, majoring in fine arts, and an incoming freshman at Columbia University, planning to study political science. And I am honored to be here on stage for the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire for second year in a row now. But enough about me. So, Eva Richter is someone who has always felt a responsibility to advocate for others. Her parents, both doctors, were models who showed her the value of community service. They taught her that we should always help wherever we can. As a Jew who had lost German citizenship and was displaced in colonized China from age 2 to 16, I asked Eva Richter about her first impression of America, and she described it as the shining, gleaming land of plenty. The fulfillment of a dream I never had, she said. Being a stateless person, Eva was able to be evacuated from China by the American Navy during the Communist Revolution, using travel documents issued by the UN. This founded the seed of her relationship with the UN. To this day, she feels a sense of gratitude towards the UN. When she retired from teaching, Eva advocated at the UN and co-founded the NGO Committee on Migration. It was a full circle moment. Her committee went on to become one of the 3 major organizations that channel the voices of refugees today. It has grown into an inspiring movement and remains active. I aspire to one day work in the UN and follow her footsteps, bringing to civic discussion the insight she has given me on a very noble cause. Eva's mission to counter the rising anti-migrant feeling the whole world has continues to resonate in the current political context. Now Eva says that she leaves it to the youngsters to carry the work forward. No pressure, we'll try to not mess up too bad. Now please join me in honoring Nervin, who will speak for Eva Richter today.
It's a great honor to speak in front of you on behalf of Eva Richter. My name is Nervin Ahmad, and Eva would love to have been here. Unfortunately, she finds herself in hospital with a broken leg. It's not holding her back. She wrote an excellent speech. She co-founded the Committee on Migration, which represents accredited non-governmental organizations at the United Nations. As my mentor, she has gracefully enabled me to take on her duties as convener of the Subcommittee on Xenophobia, Racism, and Social Inclusion. And I am now treasurer of the Committee on Migration at the Executive Committee level. As a woman who not only comes from a mixed background, German, Bangladeshi at the moment, I've changed nationalities quite frequently, and as a woman whose foremothers have had to flee a range of countries, doing so with increasing grace and practice, I'm truly pleased to be able to represent her here as another woman on the move. I will now read her words to you. Thank you very much for this honor. I'm deeply grateful to Ethical New York City and LaborArts, organizations that remind us through their own work that ethics, creativity, and justice belong at the heart of public life. I'm thankful not only for this recognition, but for the values it represents and the space it creates to lift up work that is often carried out quietly, but always collectively. I received this award with humility and with clear understanding that it belongs to all the amazing people who have worked so hard since its founding in 2006 to make the United Nations NGO Committee on Migration and Development one of the 3 convening civil society organizations that convey to all regions, nations, and at all levels our advocacy for migrants and refugees, as represented by some 4,000 constituent organizations across the globe. These are organizations with deep grassroots connections in civil society, academia, and labor, all of whom present an unwavering commitment to all people on the move, their needs and desires, their hopes and aspirations, their hardships and despair, their defeats and triumphs. At its core, our work is not about policies or frameworks, important as those are. It is about people. We advocate at the UN for humane policies and legal frameworks, ones that respect human rights, individual freedoms, and dignity of all individuals and accord them the right to seek lives of opportunity, free of fear and discrimination, to integrate into new communities, offering their talents and their perspectives, their innovations and their energy. When migration is discussed in public discourse, it is all too often reduced to numbers, borders, or statistics. But our work begins and ends with individuals, and we have members working at the borders and detention centers, at schools and in courthouses, intervening, protecting, and advocating tirelessly for people. Our work is about a mother who arrives in a new country afraid to open her door, unsure of her rights, worried that one knock could lead to detention, deportation, and the loss of her family, until a local organization, often one of our constituents, explains her protections and helps her find acceptance, belonging, community. I will stop giving examples and I'll go towards the ending more rapidly. The NGO Committee on Migration exists to make those moments possible. Through our member organizations, we apply the principles of the Global Compact for Migration and the Global Compact on Refugees, not as distant ideals, but as practical commitments. Prosperity is not only economic, it is the ability to live without fear. It is access to justice, education, healthcare, housing, and work. It is the freedom to contribute one's talents and culture to a shared future. I think I don't need to remind you here that small actions ripple outward. A legal referral can prevent detention. A community forum can replace fear with understanding. A recommendation shaped by lived experience that alters how institutions treat people on the move. Eva thanks the members of the NGO Committee on Migration, grassroots partners across continents, and above all, the migrants and refugees who have entrusted us with their stories and guide our work every day. We accept this honor as encouragement to keep listening, to keep protecting, to keep advocating, and to keep building communities where everyone has the chance to live with dignity and hope, contributing the best of all their capacities in support of one another. Eva thanks you for this great honor. Thank you.
The great Clara.
Everyone, how's it going? It's a pleasure to be here and to see my good friend Leanne a lot. Thank you. Yeah, and it's such an honor to be here with you tonight, and to celebrate the honorees and all the guests. We chose to sing this song because out of all of the honors in the world, all the accolades we can get, all of the things that we work for to make it more equitable and accessible for people, I think the things that really make life matter are the little things. So we're going to sing a little bit of that for you. Simple as a phone call. Been around the whole world, still ain't seen nothing like my neighborhood. And of all of the fancy satin and silk, my white cotton feels so good. Looked high and low for a place where I can lay my burdens down. Ain't nothing in this whole wide world in the peace that I have found. Yeah, it's the little things and the joy they bring. It's the little things and the joy they bring. Simple as a phone call just to make it known that you're gonna be a little late. Pure as a kiss on the cheek and a word that everything will be okay. Call in the morning from my little sister singing to me happy birthday. Cross my fortune and fame, don't forget about the simple things. It's the little things and the joy they bring. Oh, it's the little things and the joy they bring. Give me my bright star, give me my good star, give me some peace of mind. Give me some sunshine, give me some blue skies. Run around in circles, lost my focus, lost sight of my goals. I do this for the love of people, not for the glitter and gold. Got everything that I asked for, even a little more. When I asked to learn humility, this is what I was told. Oh, it's the little thing, the joy it brings. It's the little things and the joy they bring. Give me my guitar, give me a bright star, give me some good food, give me some cute shoes, give me Atlanta, give me Savannah, give me some peace of mind. Give me some Stevie, give me some Donnie, give me my daddy, give me my mommy, pour me some sweet tea, spoonful of honey. I don't need no Hollywood.
Good afternoon. My name is Alejandra, and tonight I'm thrilled to introduce someone who means a great deal to me, Dana Minaya. Dana has a gift for creating joy, not just for herself, but for everyone around her. She is constantly finding ways to bring people together through experiences that are thoughtful, hopeful, and above all, meaningful. As a teacher, Dana believed deeply in nurturing curiosity. She worked in a program where students were encouraged to think critically and creatively, rather than simply memorize facts. That spirit of inquiry and openness continues to define everything she does. While Dana did not initially see herself as an activist, her path was shaped by the values instilled in her early on. Her parents taught her to care for others and to give generously. As a Girl Scout, she met people from different countries, an experience that sparked her curiosity about other cultures and perspectives. Teaching in Ghana further expanded her worldview. There, she developed a deep appreciation for global understanding and the importance of seeing the world as interconnected. She believed strongly that schools should reflect this diversity, allowing students to learn from one another and to live together with respect and joy. Dana's activism takes many forms. As a ceramic artist, she creates pins that spark conversation and awareness. One design features a watermelon, symbolizing the colors of the Palestinian flag as a statement of solidarity. Another draws from history, red hats, inspired by those born in Norway during Nazi occupation, re-emerged as a symbol of protest during immigration enforcement actions in Minneapolis. She's also deeply committed to local community organisms, recognizing that many older adults cannot easily attend large demonstrations. Dana has helped organize local protests so more people can participate. Every Wednesday evening, she joins a group for short, visible demonstrations, moments of protest that invite passing drivers to honk in support and remind the community that they are not alone. Her commitment extends to climate activism as well. Inspired by conversations at her church, she became involved in environmental work and now serves as the secretary of the Beloved Earth community, where she helps promote sustainable living, including plant-based food initiatives. I am proud to call Dana Minaya my friend, my aunt, and my mentor. Please join me in thanking her for all she does to strengthen and inspire our community.
And good evening to everyone. In my book group, we recently read Lovely One and an autobiography by Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. I was struck by this passage from her book. I want to encourage those bold dreamers not to be turned aside by adversity, because life will always bring challenges. We must allow them to teach us and fortify us and help us to build confidence in our ability to find a way through. In the end, we must trust the path we choose to walk, anchored by a firm sense of potential, inspired with whom we surround ourselves. Inspired by people with whom we surround ourselves, and bolstered by our own willingness to keep on. So, who has inspired me and helped me to face challenges? Here are just a few out of so many who have supported me in my growth, some of whom are here this evening, or maybe online. But I would like to mention only 5 of the many. The people of the nation of Ghana, Darrington Dunbar, my husband Frank Minaya, the people of my community in Manhattan, and Deborah Meyer. I owe a lot to the people of Ghana in West Africa, where I was in the Peace Corps for 2 years. Even though there was a shortage of science teachers at this time, I can always say that I took away from Ghana more than I gave to Ghana. Besides gaining a global vision and self-confidence, I learned from the warmth and nurturing spirit of the Ghanaian people. Number 2, Barrington Dunbar was an African-American Quaker, a member of the Society of Friends. Back in the early 1970s, he took time from his busy schedule to counsel me personally during a troubled period in my life. At that time, he taught me to speak truth to power. Barrington was well known for speaking truth, challenging complacency, and pressing for justice. For example, Quakers considered him to be a thorn in their side because he challenged his white Quaker friends to become more active, less pacifist, to a less pacifist approach in addressing racism and white supremacy by asking them to support the Black Power movement. Number 3, I owe so much to my deceased husband, Frank, who countered my analytical, way too logical self. Frank was a very charitable, creative person who loved using his creativity to bring joy and self-confidence to others. I learned from Frank the pleasure and skills needed to also build joy and self-confidence in others. Number 4, I am fortunate to live in a Manhattan village named Morningside Gardens, filled with creative, progressive people. But just to deal with the gardens, volunteer gardening has been my own special love, which I support in my community wholeheartedly. Therefore, I enjoy watching both the adults and children in my community take pride in the beauty that they have created. I am fortunate to sit on a gardening committee whose members are particularly concerned about planting native plants with sustainability for pollinators and birds in mind. I've learned so much from my fellow gardeners, while at the same time thriving in this lush, natural environment. Number 5, as an educator, I was blessed with many learning experiences. Most notable may have been working in the progressive small schools. While so much education today is rote learning and teaching to the test, Debbie was concerned about creating better learners, preserving democracy, and developing critical thinkers. Through group work, my students learned to work collaboratively in teams. My students developed portfolios and sat before committees to defend them. They were indeed critical thinkers and could speak with great confidence in defense of their work. And what was so unusual, Debbie had the same expectation of us, the educators, to work collaboratively, love learning, think critically, and be able to defend our work as teachers. I wish I could speak of the many more who have supported and inspired me. With the advice of Ketanji Brown Jackson quoted earlier, I plan to continue to learn from all of you and surround myself with you for inspiration, joy, and hope. What I have learned of Clara Lemlich's social activism in 1909 and the activism of the present and past in New Orleans, I am indeed inspired. Thanks to all of you, and thank you for the honor of receiving this award.
Hello everyone, my name is Hazel Kaminsky and I'm also a senior along with Roseanne at LaborArts High School. This fall I'm going to Cornell University to study labor relations and public policy. So, This past week, I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Scotty Embree, a worker, organizer, teacher, academic, and activist. Scotty became interested in the principle of equality from a young age. Her grandparents founded Berea, a college in Kentucky committed to free tuition and boosting educational opportunity. During her early life, she viewed education as a grand equalizer and the primary solution to social problems. However, after education seemed to fail a young woman she knew, she began to view unions as a way to advocate for what was missing in the supposed guarantee of equality. She later found out that her grandmother's dad was brought over from Scotland to work in mines in Wyoming. There were many mining explosions in that area, and he became a union president. Her own first immersion into union work was with a campaign to gain the right to vote for a union, and it got her hooked. In addition to worker organizing, Scotty held roles as a teacher throughout her life, giving her a greater sense of empathy and connection with those she fought for. Teaching at CUNY, many of her students also worked, and at a time when many municipal workers were losing their jobs due to the economic crash, she took a deep interest in what was happening to them and their experiences as workers. Attending NYU for graduate school in Columbia for a master's in public health and epidemiology, she soon pivoted from academia to a career in health and safety. She received a grant from school which she used to work with unions and help workers who were exposed to chemicals in the workplace. She learned how to build coalitions and fight for those treated unfairly by powerful governments, policymakers, and corporations. During our conversation, Scotty told me about a particular magazine cover that she never forgot about. It featured a firefighter from Elizabeth and an inspector on a boat together. The firefighter looked chimney swept and dirty, while the inspector was dressed in a bright white, pristine, protective outfit. The contrast between the two, for her, was symbolic of the inequality between those who enforce safety standards and those who do the essential, dangerous work and are left exposed and vulnerable. When I asked her if she had advice for young people looking to get involved in organizing and advocacy, she said to identify a cause you're looking to support, join people who are already doing the work, like a student group, and then see how they interact with one another, and to always be sure to keep the ideals of community and pleasure in mind. Scotty's inspiring career in academia and worker organizing, willingness to protest injustice, and drive to fight for workers with little voice and achieve greater equality and safety are all great inspirations to me, and I hope to all of you as well. So with that, thank you, and please join me in welcoming Scotty Embree.
Can everybody hear? I'm going to sit down doing this. So I'm going to give kind of like my origin story in terms of unions. And a lot of that is about a young girl named Diana. So the starts when I'm 21 and a senior in college, and I'm at home over the summer working in a manufacturing plant. Education and art was really my paths, and I was looking for someplace I could volunteer at night, and came upon a settlement house in the city of Rochester. So I ended up going there, being interviewed, and that event started changing my life. It was actually a group run by about 8 college students who were black, and I was white. The settlement house, I knew it was in a poor neighborhood, but I didn't realize it would not be mixed. So that was just my beginning of finding out more about how the city was organized. We ran classes for the 6th graders every night, and then after classes, we would go and hang out at one of the other teachers' apartments. And there, people from the street would come by and then talk to us about what it was like being black, and what it was like to be a events, or what it was like to be a hospital worker. We also decided to go away for a weekend with the kids, take the 40 kids, 6th graders with us, and have a time they could get together with other teachers in professional class. So we had the kids were a little bit scared and excited, and they had just right before. We stayed overnight, we had our event, and then jumped up on buses and go back home. And that's when we heard that race riots broke out in Rochester. So that was a first for Rochester. It lasted 3 days. It was struggled to 2,000 people. Broke out fines. 350 people were injured, 5 died, 976 were arrested, 200 stores were damaged, and Governor Rockefeller called out 1,000 National Guardsmen. The neighborhood was a war zone for the next few weeks and months. I continued to see was one student, Diane. I would go over to her house. We'd go walking around in the neighborhood and get food for her brothers and sisters. And sometimes she'd come with me to campus and meet my friends there. She was very bright and full of life. One afternoon, when I was dropping by her house, her mom came up to me and said something was terribly wrong at school. And I said, what? And she said, well, Diana was using the same books as her younger sister. And that Diana's class was in the basement of the school. So her mom couldn't figure out what was happening. Was it that the school thought Diana was slow? Was it because Diana didn't have her hair straightened? Which her mom felt it was, Diana was too young for that. Anyhow, so her mom came up with the idea that she had a sister in Detroit, and maybe Diana could go and live with her aunt and in Detroit get a better education. I looked at Diana, and she was not saying anything during this conversation. And I said, well, what do you think? And she said, nothing, she didn't say anything. And so we said, do you want to read? And she said, yes, and picked a book. So that, a month or two later, I got asked to join a community group that was forming in Rochester to kind of address all the issues that were left by the riots. So there were community groups, the NAACP, Saul Liskey's group, Action, and we started working on what needed to be done, which was really everything. And I got drawn to the unions and to the committee forming and working with unions, thinking that would give more consistent work It would provide skills. It would provide more income. And so we started organizing, staying at the, going to the hospital, handing out materials, and hanging out with each other at night over how we were progressing. And finally, we got enough cards signed so that we could hold an election. And at that point, the election results came in and we lost. And the more experienced organizers told us that that was to be expected. It took a long time for people to gain confidence enough to vote for a union. And so there was my story about getting involved with unions and about getting involved with the community and seeing what could happen. And it was so exciting and changed my life and changed everybody's life that it led to a completely different story for me going forward. Thank you.
And a very pleasant good evening. Hello, everybody. Wow, thank you to LaborArts. This is such a blessing because look at this beautiful building we're in. Ethical Culture Society that has been around for such a long time. The principles and the ethics and the reason why we're here for the Clara Lemlich Awards is because as we come together, how can we forget the universal language of music that brings us together on a higher level? We need music now more than ever because this message with LaborArts and these awards help us understand that we need community now more than ever, that we need unity now more than ever. And we need positive messages now more than ever. This group is called Sing Harlem because one day, we were singing down at our second home where we do the longest running gospel brunch in New York. That happens at the Red Rooster Harlem, up in Harlem. Anybody know about Harlem? Our name is Sing Harlem because one day somebody took off their shoe and they threw it at the stage and they said, "Sing Harlem." And we said, "Ouch, don't throw your shoe at us." No. But this group celebrates the shoulders that we stand upon through music, especially continuing the African American music into the American musical landscape. So, enjoy.
Your love lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, keep my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know your love keeps lifting, keep on lifting, keep on lifting me, keep on lifting me higher and higher, higher. Your love
That was amazing. Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here tonight. My name is Dawn Harris-Martine. It is my pleasure to introduce Shirley Kaplan. During my first conversation with Shirley, she dropped so many wonderful nuggets of wisdom that I was transported back to my childhood, eagerly scooping up candy from a busted backyard birthday party pinata. Yes, I'm comparing Shirley's wisdom to candy, but I assure you, that is the most flattering comparison I can make. Shirley has lived a life that defies any single label. She's founded the Obie Award-winning paper bag players. She studied painting in Paris as a teenager after her first New York exhibition earned her a scholarship. She has worked alongside artists, actors, and rock musicians. She brought art into schools during the Vietnam War era, and her early work with the Connecticut Commission on the Arts, Project Create, was part of the basis for one of the first community art projects in the United States. After 42 years at Sierra Leone's, she retired in 2016. Though retired seems like a loose term for someone who, at 94, still hosts salons where artists gather to share their work. Throughout it all, she has moved through the world with a particular kind of boldness. As she put it, dashing into the unknown is part of education. I'd argue it's also been the through line of her life. What strikes me most about Shirley is her philosophy towards people. She doesn't try to shape others, she trusts them. As she told me about one of her many accomplished former students, she said, "I didn't teach her. She came that way. People come the way they are." That kind of generosity, that deep belief in others is rare, and it has clearly left a mark. She remains close with many former students to this day, still learning from them as much as they once learned from her. When I asked Shirley to reflect on her long and eventful life, she didn't list her achievements. She just spoke of remarkable people. That's what she collected along the way, and tonight, I think the feeling is mutual. Please join me in welcoming this evening's honoree, Shirley Kaplan.
Okay. Hi. I wanted to say first that Muhammad Ali, when he was at Harvard as a guest, was asked by somebody in the audience, "What, write us a poem, read from your poem." And he said, "We, you, me, you." And I think I misquoted it already. But I think the truth, I was very touched because it's really become that in my life, that I've connected to people in some way that changed my life right from the beginning. My mother had TB the first years of my life, so I didn't see her much at all. She was in a hospital in Wallingford. My father, who came over here as an immigrant from Poland, who was 10 years old, and his relatives had given him a job in some factory, and they forgot to say they had no bed, so he slept on the kitchen table. Not an unusual story in those days. He went down to the Bowery, where they used to come and look for help, and some man with a farm took him in, and he stayed there till he was 18. I wanted to mention that because coming from different backgrounds, all of us, I got really interested in what made us different and what we had that was connecting us. And my first experience was my mother had come home and gave me tap lessons. I was on my toes too early. Singing, I wasn't much of a singer. But they brought a lot of art materials. And they sent me to a local city summer program. And we drew and drew and drew. And I, who loved Disney and loved cartooning, came home and my mother said, "That's a perfect pig." I said, "What?" She said, "You've drawn a perfect pig. You've got to go study art." So that's not too aesthetic a story, but from there on I went to Silver Pine Field in Connecticut, where my father's farm was nearby. I was the youngest student they had. I was scared to death, but they gave me a lot of paint, and I worked with Gail Simon, Reverend Arthur, and a wonderful man who started cabarets there, called John Vassos. And by then I was like 15, 16. And I got an apprenticeship at the Westport Country Playhouse as an apprentice to a man called Larry Goldwasser, who loved to do sets for Victorian times. And besides a pig, I could really draw portraits. So I stayed there that summer, and I learned a lot, and I met a lot of people. And through these early years, opposite of the way I was raised, I learned what blue cheese was, why people drank wine, what about different people's way of living. And I have to warn you here that my dates might be very funky. I drove my family crazy and told me I needed notes. I did. But I want to say that there was something about Oliver Sacks that moved me beyond belief when I got older. And as I tell you what I did in education, I want you sort of to stay with me in that. The idea that our memory and our experience leads to our courage and our kindness. And the memory leads to action. And there's nobody in this room I can bet you $5. I have it down here. I can bet that there's nobody here that hasn't marched, written a letter, and cared about everything in our country that we care about. And also building spiritual strength, which is what we all really need. And I just wanted to mention that. I'm going to jump around, so forgive me. I'm 94. So it's a living miracle. I'm a living miracle. So after that little experience at the art place and at the playhouse, I went to New York because somebody offered me a show on 57th Street. And my father in the Herald Tribune, they wrote, "Farmer's daughter shows on 57th Street. He brings paintings in his tow truck." That was another day. And a woman, I forgot her name now, but the critic for the Herald Tribune was very kind to me. And I got a lot of very good results from it. It was my first professional experience to be around a street with other painters, like many of them. We had that in Silvermine, but many, many painters in different galleries. And it changed my life because a man named Richard Guggenheimer, who was an art philosopher at a college called Briarcliff, came and offered me a scholarship. So coming from a farm, going to Briarcliff College, I don't know if anybody of you know this in here, but it was a total economic change. It was much more like a finishing school almost. And I learned a lot there. I learned there were other kinds of people besides the people I knew already. And from that I got another scholarship. The best part of Briarcliff for me was the intelligence of the teachers who would come. It was kind of a version of community college, which I'm a big backer for. I mean, I think we should have shop classes, community colleges. I mean, we should serve what our needs are. But I'm not going to preach much. You can hope. But from Briarcliff, I was offered another grant, and the reason I like Briarcliff is I could use the art studio anytime I wanted. And the only request they had was that on the weekends, when Harvard, Yale, and Princeton came to this women's college, best I do not waltz a little hobby in my paint clothes. So I learned a little sociological information there. And I did, and I got another scholarship. This one got me to Paris. And I'll talk a little bit about Paris. At a very active time, it was the end of the war. I was not astute or intelligent enough to absorb how unique that was. And I got there and I looked for studios, and what I found was a studio that was filled with male painters. By the way, they called me a girl painter in the review. So, what can we say? But male painters who did not want. I was with another girl, a woman from Clara, from Berkeley, and they didn't want us in the studio. They said, no, women don't come in here. It was part of the Grand Chaumière. And then you didn't come off our house. It's a part of Paris that's unbelievable. And all these painters and different people are walking around, eating together, painting in their studios. And at night and other times, they'd go to the Select, which was a cafe, across from the Dome. And painters would be there. And the conversation was so shocking and wonderful to me, and the morals, the morality was so different, and the art was so different, that I was absolutely enchanted. And after a while, I became friends with the people in the studio, and we would paint at night. There was free classes with a sculptor named Sackton, and he would just go around and say, a little more, that was his favorite. Bloop, right away. But it was all free, and we all went and we used it for nothing. And it was much cheaper there, believe me. And the Dome was filled with, I saw Giacometti, I saw his brother, I saw different people. I really wanted to see Alice Tokes, but all I saw was her partner crossing the street with Montparnasse. But that satisfied me a great deal. And little by little, I made a life in Paris. And I met a wonderful painter, and some of you I hope will know his name. If not, you can look him up in Google. He's not recognized much except by painters. But Cooney and Klein really loved him and understood him, and he stayed with him a lot and watched his painting. And for years I watched Earl paint the same portrait of himself and gladiolus. And he was really wonderful. I had a companion or a friend. He'd say, does he have a kitchen baby? Can we cook a chicken? He was very lively, very empathetic, and he was much older than me. He was like 65, I was probably 20. You can imagine. Meeting someone like that, very nice, who had come from abstract expressionism, which he did not do at all, to his own voice. And that's what I loved about Oliver Sacks, and I love reading about him and getting to know all that, because he listened to the soul of people. And if you play a song, if any of you have ever worked in halfway houses or daycares, people recognize their song. It's like the singers we just had. It's remarkable. It's in our genes. And education is in our genes. And science and all this stuff that's coming up is in our genes. And we hope to God AI has a gene. Because we want to get some emotional life going. I'm going to stop. She called me because I don't make it too long, but my family is, anyway, the end is that I came back to America and I had another show. And I went to Sarah Lawrence College. I had to end when I had I went to Sarah Lawrence because Alice Oachman, who's the president, and Will Lemlich, and Dan Harris, and wonderful time. Alice Paley, Jane, I mean, ridiculous, wonderful. Anyway, read Oliver Sacks. Speak up, and my education is based on what you feel. If you feel, believe it, move on it, learn about it, discard it. But don't stop. I just want to end with a 4-line song for my father that I wrote, and a thing called Canadian Cowboy. I lived the only kind of life I could. I made my way, knock on wood, knock on wood, gone so gelt. I've got life under my belt. Thank you.
Hello again. How's everyone doing? I was born by the river, innocence, ever since. It's been a long time coming, and I know a change gonna come. Yes, it will. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's ahead beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, and I know change gonna come. Yes, it will. I go to the movie, then I go downtown. So tell me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, and I know the change gonna come. Yes, Lord, there's been times when I thought I would last so long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know the change gonna come. Yes, it will. It's been a long time coming, but I know the change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been a long time coming, but I know the change gonna come.
everyone. My name is Val Arnold. I'm a senior at Fordham University, graduating in like 2 weeks. And today I'm going to introduce Dawn Harris-Martine. And I'm so excited that I got to meet her for this journey of working with LaborArts. But I first saw Grandma Dawn a few weeks ago, and I was immediately impressed by her creativity, warmth, and passion for helping people. Within the first 30 seconds of hearing from her, the mention of children, books, and specifically her community stood out to me. Grandma Dawn took me back to her childhood and the important roles her neighborhood played in her upbringing. She mentioned the ways her neighbors always watched out for her and each other overall. One of Grandma Dawn's neighbors happened to be a principal who gave Grandma Dawn an opportunity to teach. While going into teaching, Grandma Dawn told me she had the mindset to treat her students like they were her own kids. Not just teaching curriculum, but giving students in her classroom the love and encouragement to grow and lead. As a student, I know how impactful having such an amazing teacher like that is, and that just really stood out to me. She told me stories about how every Tuesday she brought her students out into New York City to explore different museums, parks, and aquariums, and eventually parents began joining these adventures. The formation of a community through her students, their parents, and New York City are just an example of the love and inclusive environment Grandma Dawn creates. Today, she owns Grandma's Place, a book and toy store in Harlem, which most importantly operates as a community center. The time Grandma Dawn takes to know the people around her was evident in my phone call with her and in many of the articles I found online about the bookstore. I can't wait to be able to go and visit myself. So Grandma Dawn's ability to create community and make everyone feel around her, feel valued and appreciated is evident in everything she does. And I'm so grateful to have the honor to introduce Grandma Dawn today.
Afternoon, and I am Grandma Dawn, and I am everyone's grandma. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there and all you people that have supported all of our wonderful children. And I just want to say, I have no idea why I am on this stage with all these wonderful, achieving people, because all I've just done was whatever God said to me, that's a good idea. I just took it and ran with it. Okay? So I'm 87 years old, and I am blind, crippled, and disabled, but I still get up every morning and thank God for being here and ask, what next, Lord? What is it? Where am I going now? And so that's what's happening. I have two wonderful daughters and a lot of friends that I call angels because they take care of me, they take care of the community, and I am so grateful to be a member of my family because they are terrific. And I have friends that I've been with for 50 years and that gave him his first job, and he's sitting here with me now, and he's been motivated to do great things, and he's a choir leader, and he takes care of seniors, and he does all, and he's an entertainer, and all of that was because I gave him his first job, and he likes to tell me that all the time. Stand up and say something, please. I gave him his first job. Are you happy now? All right. And is Jody here? Is Jody here? Well, Jody was my 7-year, she's now 40 years old. And Jody was one of my first students I got as I became a teacher. And my neighbor gave me a job as a teacher. Why? I had to teach. But she needed a teacher, so I went to teach. And Jody was one of my first students. And she said, I want to be a teacher just like you, Miss Martine. And so Jody was my children's a babysitter and whatnot. And Jody went to college and graduated. And her first job was at the Future Leaders Institute, where she was a substitute teacher. And now, 18 years later, she's the principal of Future Leaders Academy, and she's doing her work. Things like that I know that I've been put on this earth to do what I do. But I only do the things that come to me. Like, I have a store for 26 years. People come into the store and they say, I want to homeschool my kids because my kids aren't getting what they need in school. So what we do, we get curriculum advisories, and I talk to people about it. And, you know, we bring the books that the parents need to teach their children. And then I give unsolicited advice. Okay? I'm always telling parents, take that iPad out of your kids' hands and give them a book. And they put that phone down and pick up a book and talk to your kid and interact with your children. So I'm giving unsolicited advice that people seem to take, and people do well. All right? I don't know what else to say to you other than the fact that every job that I've had, I've been an architectural draftswoman, I've been a community leader, I ran a program for prisoners that just got out of jail. Whatever God points me in that direction, I'll try and take it on and see what I can do with it. And being a toy store owner and a teacher has been the most gratifying thing that I've ever done in my life. The toy store, because I have books, and I turn kids on to books, and I turn kids on to toys that make them smarter. I don't sell guns. I don't sell worthless things. I sell things that will help kids get better jobs and think better. So, thank you very much. I think that we have had enough talking. I'm ready to do the next stage. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, all of our honorees. I hope everybody in the room takes some of this advice home to the young people that they know. We're going to have another extraordinary song from Sing Harlem, and we would like to invite you after that to come down to the community room and have some wonderful food by Nora, wine and snacks, and join us to celebrate our honorees more. So, cheers again, everybody, and Sing Harlem is going to sing us out. Stage, not to do this without your support. So use the QR code on your program donation. Thank you, thank you.
Can we give it up for LaborArts, y'all? I cannot help but to think about and celebrate female leadership and women in leadership. These women on this stage are national treasures. Can we give it up for all of the women? Listen, that's incredible. A treasure trove of history. I can't help but to think about my mother, whose name is Vi Higginson, and she was the first African American woman on primetime radio in New York at a station called WBLS. And then she wrote, with her husband, my father, a show called Mama, I Want to See. That show became the longest running African American musical in theater history. And it was about Harlem, and it was about New York, and it was about just what this event is about. It was about It was about bringing people together. And it was about the power of music and telling real stories. Real stories. These ladies have busted down doors. So, I encourage you to come join us in Harlem to be a part of the Mama Foundation for the Arts and Mama I Want to Sing Foundation, where all of these young people are students of the foundation, a nonprofit board. We provide music in places that don't have it, so the musical child does not get lost. And then we sing for joy. So we want you to join us in this song, because we know that you know it. So, okay, go back. Yeah, I want you to clap your hands like this. If you it's in my mind, I'm gonna let it shine. It's in the light of my life, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Yeah, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. It's in the light of my life, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Clap your hands like this. Your hands like that. Clap your hands like this. Clap your hands like that. Now, listen, I would be remiss if I didn't make you get to your feet. So we want you everybody to stand on up, everybody. I said stand on up. 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 It's still alive. Let me hear you. I'm gonna let it shine. It's still alive. I'm gonna let it shine. Still alive. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. It's still alive. Right here. Oh, 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 it's still alive. Listen. Clap your hands like this. Ooh, clap your hands like that. Clap your hands like this. Hands like that. Now, all the time I want you to make your feet sing. You know what I mean? Ready? A one, a two, a one, two, three. Clap it up there. Sing Harlem, let it shine.
shine.